Time and the Gods by Edward John Morton Drax Plunkett, Lord Dunsany. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information, or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. When the Gods Slept. All the gods were sitting in Pegāna, and their slave Time lay idle at Pegāna's gate, with nothing to destroy. When they thought of worlds, worlds large and round and gleaming, and little silver moons. Then, who knoweth when, as the gods raised their hands, making the sign of the gods, the thoughts of the gods became worlds and silver moons, and the worlds swam by Pegāna's gate to take their places in the sky, to ride at anchor forever, each where the gods had bidden, and because they were round and big and gleamed all over the sky, the gods laughed and shouted, and all clapped their hands. Then upon earth the gods played out the game of the gods, the game of life and death, and on the other worlds they did a secret thing, playing a game that's hidden. At last they mocked no more at life, and laughed at death no more, and cried aloud in Pegāna, "Will no new thing be? Must those four march forever round the world, till our eyes are wearied with the treading of the feet of the seasons that will not cease, while night and day and life and death drearily rise and fall?" And as a child stares at the bare walls of a narrow hut, so the gods looked all listlessly upon the world, saying, "Will no new thing be?" And in their weariness the gods said, "Ah, to be young again! Ah, to be fresh once more from the brain of Mana Yud Sushai!" And they turned away their eyes in weariness from all the gleaming worlds, and laid them down upon Pegāna's floor. For they said, "It may be that the worlds shall pass, and we would fain forget them." Then the gods slept. Then did the comet break loose from his moorings, and the eclipse roamed about the sky, and down on the earth did Death's three children, Famine, Pestilence, and Drought, come out to feed. The eyes of Famine were green, and the eyes of Drought were red. But the Pestilence was blind, and smote all round him with his claws among the cities. But as the gods slept, there came from beyond the rim, out of the dark and unknown, three Yozis, spirits of ill, that sailed up the river of silence in galleons with silver sails. Ya, Ha, and Snurg were these three Yozis, the lords of evil, madness, and of spite. When they crept from their galleons and stole over Pegāna's silent threshold, it boded ill for the gods. There in Pegāna lay the gods asleep, and in a corner lay the power of the gods alone upon the floor, a thing wrought of black rock, and four words graven upon it, whereof I might not give thee any clue, if even I should find it, four words of which none knoweth. Some say they tell of the opening of a flower towards dawn, others say they concern earthquakes among hills, and others that they tell of the death of fishes, and others that the words be these: power, knowledge, forgetting, and another word that not the gods themselves may ever guess. These words the Yozis read, and sped away in dread lest the gods should wake, and going aboard their galleons bade the rowers haste. Thus the Yozis became gods, having the power of gods, and they sailed away to the earth, and came to a mountainous island in the sea. There they sat upon the rocks, sitting as the gods sit, with their right hands uplifted, and having the power of gods. Only none came to worship. Thither came no ships nigh them, nor ever at evening came the prayers of men, nor smell of incense, nor screams from the sacrifice. Then said the Yozis, "Of what avails it that we be gods, if no one worship us, nor give us sacrifice?" And Ya, Ha, and Snurg set sail in their silver galleons, and went looming down the sea to come to the shores of men. And first they came to an island where there were fisher folk, and the folk of the island, running down to the shore, cried out to them, "Who be ye?" And the Yozis answered, "We be three gods, and we would have your worship." But the fisher folk answered, Here we worship Ram, the thunder, and have no worship nor sacrifice for other gods." Then the Yozis snarled with anger and sailed away, and sailed till they came to another shore, sandy and low and forsaken, and at last they found an old man upon the shore, and they cried out to him, "Old man upon the shore, we be three gods that it were well to worship, gods of great power, and apt in the granting of prayer." The old man answered, "We worship Pegāna's gods, who have a fondness for our incense and the sound of our sacrifice when it squeals upon the altar." Then answered Snurg, "Asleep are Pegāna's gods, nor will they wake for the humming of thy prayers, which lie in the dust upon Pegāna's floor. And over them Snirachti, the spider of the worlds, hath woven a web of mist, and the squealing of the sacrifice maketh no music in ears that are closed in sleep." The old man answered, standing upon the shore, "Though all the gods of old shall answer our prayers no longer, yet still to the gods of old shall all men pray here in Cyrenaeus." But the Yozis turned their ships about and angrily sailed away, all cursing Cyrenaeus and Cyrenaeus's gods, but most especially the old man that stood upon the shore. Still the three Yozis lusted for the worship of men, and came on the third night of their sailing to a city's lights, and nearing the shore they found it a city of song, wherein all folks rejoiced. Then sat each Yozi on his galleon's prow, and leered with his eyes upon the city, so that the music stopped and the dancing ceased, and all looked out to see at the strange shapes of the Yozis beneath their silver sails. Then Snurg demanded their worship, promising increase of joys, and swearing by the light of his eyes that he would send little flames to leap over the grass, to pursue the enemies of that city, and to chase them about the world. But the people answered that in that city men worshipped Agrodaun, the mountain standing alone, and might not worship other gods, even though they came in galleons with silver sails, sailing from over the sea. But Snurg answered, "Certainly Agrodaun is only a mountain, and in no manner a god." But the priests of Agrodaun sang answer from the shore, "If the sacrifice of men make not Agrodaun a god, nor blood still young on his rocks, nor the little fluttering prayers of 10,000 hearts, nor 2,000 years of worship, and all the hopes of the people, and the whole strength of our race, then there are no gods, and ye be common sailors sailing from over the sea." Then said the Yozis, "Hath Agrodaun answered prayer?" And the people heard the words that the Yozis said. Then went the priests of Agrodaun away from the shore and up the steep streets of the city, the people following, and over the moor beyond it to the foot of Agrodaun, and then said, "Agrodaun, if thou art not our god, go back and herd with yonder common hills, and put a cap of snow upon thy head, and crouch far off as they do beneath the sky. But if we have given thee divinity in 2,000 years, if our hopes are all about thee like a cloak, then stand and look upon thy worshippers from over our city for ever." And there fell a hush over great Agrodaun, and the priests went back to the sea and said to the three Yozis, "New gods shall have our worship when Agrodaun grows weary of being our god, or when in some night time he shall stride away, leaving us naught to gaze at that is higher than our city." And the Yozis sailed away and cursed towards Agrodaun, but could not hurt him, for he was but a mountain. And the Yozis sailed along the coast till they came to a river running to the sea, and they sailed up the river till they came to a people at work, who furrowed the soil and sowed and strove against the forest. Then the Yozis called to the people as they worked in the fields, "Give us your worship, and ye shall have many joys." But the people answered, "We may not worship you." Then answered Snurg, "Ye also, have ye a god?" And the people